Hi, welcome back to the shop. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to sneak in one more video here in 2021. That's going to be a review of this Ortur Aufero laser engraver. It's a new model they've got out. They sent it to me free of charge for the purposes of doing this review. So this came pre-assembled, very well packaged. This was all assembled when it got here. So there is no assembly to this, which is fantastic, especially if you have big fat thumbs like mine. They sent me 3 different laser modules, and I'll go through those with you. You can buy whichever option suits you the best. Of course, it comes with a power supply and the cable to hook to your computer. Safety glasses, laser glasses, has the tools you need to put things together. Some brackets to mount it with, and the laser focus piece of aluminum for 2 of the lasers, the long focus ones, and another piece of plastic for a gauge to focus laser on the short focus laser. Also has a guard for the 2 long focus lasers here as well. So something I didn't expect. So when I got this now comes with a hookup for air. So these little parts right here are for the long focus laser. Then I'll show you how these go together in a bit. But this is really easy to put together. So this is the first one here. This is the L2-2, which is a 1.6 watt module. Okay, so the guard, just loosen those little side bolts, and this slides right up in. Tighten those on. Again, just slides over this dovetail very easily, and you can tighten it up. And then to hook it up, take the wire, plugs into the top right here very easily. And then you take the Allen key that they provide, loosen off this screw, slide this in underneath, and tighten it back down. So in terms of hookup, that's all you need to do. Their assembly, that's all they need to do with your module. Now when you're focusing these, I'm just going to slide this back a little bit. So for the long focus modules, you would use this aluminum cylinder, and all you do is you take the piece that you're going to burn, set it under the laser, loosen off the guard, take it up out of your way, set this at the back of the laser right up close to where the dovetail is, right like that, and then you just simply loosen this off, let it sit on it, tighten it up, bring the laser, or bring the template out of the way, and then set your guard back in place. And that's all there is to that. It's exactly the same way to hook up for the long focus. This is the 5.5 watt one. This is the LU2-4LF. The short focus laser, which is the LU2-4-SF, comes with a magnetic guard, so it just pops on the bottom, which is kind of cool. Now I'll put this one on to show you how this works. So it's the very same, just slides on, tighten it down. Plug your cable in here. Like before, you just need to loosen one of these screws, but this time you have to use a Phillips screwdriver. Alright, so now you're ready to go with this one. Now the way that you focus this laser is you take your piece with the guard on, and you just simply lower it down onto this. Tighten it up, take off the spacer, and you're good to go. Okay, so the LU2-4LF laser, you can see it's got a bit of a cone on it. This comes with an option to be able to hook it up to an air line. So that's pretty cool. It's got a little, it's got a hookup that would go on your compressor. Hose would go from there into this, which has a regulator on it and a shutoff on it. So that's, and then your line would come from that and hook right directly up to this. And the way that this goes on If I can keep things in focus, there's a little set screw on the back, right here. You loosen that set screw, and then you can unthread this cone. So you don't use this cone when you're using the air. There's a little small set screw that would go into this nozzle, this top hole right here. So you start that in there, and before you put it on, I would put on this as well. So this just threads, it has a slot in it. So this would just thread in here with a flat screwdriver. And you'll want to figure out which direction you want your airline to come in from. So you tighten that on, and then this you can take off for now. Or you can put the hose on first, whichever you choose. I'll put the hose on first. So this just slides over the end of the hose with the threads pointing in or pointing out rather, toward the end. Slip the hose over the fitting. Like so, then just thread this on. And then this just goes up on top of right on the bottom of the module. I got my set screw too tight. There we go. Mounts the very same way. When you set this one, you use this and you hold it back here the same as you do in the other one. Even with the cone on, it still goes in the back here, and you run it with the cone when you're not using the air. So that's how they work. So I'm going to set this up over beside my computer, and we'll just do the same exact burn at the same everything on 3 different pieces of this. I'll just burn my logo on 3 pieces of this. Do it one time with each to show you how they work, and then while this burning, we'll do a little bit about the spec of each one. So the first one we're going to show is the LU2-4LF. That would be the option number that you'd order if you wanted this one. It has a focal spot of about 0.17 by 0.25 millimeters. This is the 5.5 watt or 5500 milliwatt option. It has a longer depth of field, so it's good at engraving and better at cutting. This is one that you can attach the air to, which is better for cutting for sure. So with this module, you can engrave on wood, leather, cardboard, paper, cobblestone, ceramic, painted metals, plated metal, anodized aluminum, and stainless steel. The last 3, though, you do have to color the surface in order to not have reflection. And the time to engrave each one of these was exactly the same. It was 12 minutes and 36 seconds. So this module is the LU2-4-SF, which is a short focus module. It is a 5.5 watt or 5500 milliwatt option. It has a compressed laser spot. The focal spot is about 0.12 by 0.15 millimeters, and this is good at cutting, and it's better at engraving on harder materials. And you'll see that this is a little bit darker burn than the last one. So this will work on the same materials as the last one, exactly the same. And at the end, after I do all these, I'm going to show side by side with the spec written on each one of these little pieces of wood so you can compare one to the other. This is the LU2-2 module. It is the 1600 milliwatt option. You can engrave on plywood, regular wood, paper board, like cardboard, colored paper and things like that, craft paper, leather. You can engrave on acrylic. And you can engrave on the powder-coated metals and plated metals and anodized aluminum. It will not engrave on stone or ceramic or the stainless steel. And it will cut cardboard, paper, and leather only. It will not cut wood or any other materials that were listed in the other 2 modules. This burn was done at 100% laser power, unlike the other 2, which were lower. And I'll show you the settings here in a second. Alright, so the very top one of these is one that you didn't see burned on camera. The other 3 are the ones that I did. These were all done at the exact same speeds. It was at 31% maximum power, 12% minimum power at 1200 millimeters per minute. This is a setting that I use on my Laser Master Pro 2 to do my logos on my turnings. You can see the 1600 is fainter, which I expected because it's much less powerful. The second one is the long focus, 5500, and the bottom one, which is the darkest engraving, is the 5500 short focus. And the one off to the side that my fingers are on now is a 1600, but it's at 100% maximum power, 12% minimum power at the same 1200 millimeters per minute speed. So that gives you an idea of what power comparisons are. Okay, so I'm going to show you, this is an optional accessory you can get with this laser, or I guess any of the Ortur lasers. I have it for the Laser Master Pro 2 as well. Now this is to allow you to engrave the round surface of round objects. So I do a lot of turning, and so I do that often. And all you have to do is on the bottom of the laser, I've got this all unplugged here now, you unhook the Y, which is marked. So you unhook the Y, you plug one end of the cable that's supplied with this piece, and the part number for the piece is YRR 2.0. You plug these together, set this down, and it just plugs into the motor on this one. And I turn them the wrong way every time. There. So while this is running, I'm going to just go through a few more of the features of this laser. Some of the safety stuff, it has active position protection, so if anything happens, if things get bumped around, the machine gets bumped around, it would shut down. It has an exposure duration detection and limitation feature as well, so if your laser is active in one spot for any length of time, it would automatically shut itself off. Obviously there's the guard around the module itself to protect your eyes, not a substitute for your glasses though. You always want to wear those when you're using it. And it has a power control system, so if anything happens to the machine or the computer, that it'll shut down. This is a 5,000 millimeter per minute machine. I think it has the same power modules, or the same laser modules, as the Laser Pro 2. But I think, which is a 10,000 millimeter per minute machine, but I think the reason they slowed it down is because of the frame is lighter. If you're going that fast, I think this thing might get moved around. So they do have clips, which I showed earlier, to fasten this down. So I would suggest strongly that if you're going to do things at higher speed, that you do fasten it down, because I can see it moving itself just very slightly, and you could get some misalignment there. The engraving surface capability of this is 180 millimeters by 180 millimeters. One option that I highly recommend for this, if you have big hands or even small hands, it's just much more convenient, but for big hands it's a must as far as I'm concerned. They have a Z height lifting device. The block that goes, the dovetail block that this mounts onto, you'd remove that, you put the Z lifting device on, the laser would mount to the Z lifting device, and then you have a nice big knob right on the very top that you can turn up or down to adjust the height of your laser, and I find that worth the time to put it on for sure. So I'm going to put a link in the description to where you can go to buy this machine, and there'll be a discount code there, and I think it's for $5 off to start. This is a pretty well-priced machine compared to the other one. It is kind of an entry-level machine. I use Lightburn software. I unplugged my Laser Master Pro 2, plugged this one in, went right into the program I used. It found this laser and made it my default, and it picked right up where the other one left off. So it's super easy to use. The actual lasers themselves are very, very simple. Learning the software takes a little more time, but it's not too complicated. If you have familiarity with the software now, then you're way ahead of the game. And then it's just a matter of practice, learning what power and what speeds you need to do for different materials and different burn depths. So if you're still with me, thanks so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Thanks as always to everyone who subscribes to the channel, to everybody who watches the videos. I appreciate that a ton as well. This is for sure going to be the last video of 2021. Going to kick off 2022 with a shop tour, which some folks have been asking for, so look for that on January the 3rd, and we will see you next time.